Hello, everyone. This hour on Verbling, the next in my Getting Results in Business series. We're going to be beginning in just a minute the next part of our Doing Ethical Business class. We're going to take the vocabulary we've learned and use it in a speaking activity, a realistic situation that you might have to encounter in work, and we'll also be starting the next section of the unit, which is all about key expressions. More about that in just a moment. First, a bit about me. I'm Jon-Eric, your Verbling teacher for this hour. I'm an American teacher from New York, hanging out in Lisbon, Portugal, to bring you this class. By the way, here are 3 quick rules to help you participate in my class. By the way, if there's any problems getting into the class, just let me know. All right, I'm going to put a little message out there in the window. First of all, turn off, tune in, and open up, which means when you're not speaking, turn off the microphone so that we can keep the classroom nice and quiet. When you are speaking, tune in to the new words that you're learning. Use them as actively as you can so that I can correct you and give you feedback. Finally, open up to your classmates. Relax and have fun. We're all here to learn, and this is a safe and respectful place to practice your English. So keep those things in mind as we start the class. And what I'm going to do right now, get my name on screen, share the presentation with you as well, and we'll get started. So I am Verbling teacher Jon-Eric. See if I got this working. Can you see me? There you go. By the way, there's a problem with the Hangouts today. So, hi, Joe. Here's the problem. Turn on your pop-up. So turn on your pop-up menus. You have to allow pop-ups. Allow pop-ups in the top right side. Okay, so go to the top right side of your screen over there to the URL bar, and you have to stop blocking the pop-ups. Stop blocking up. Let's see if that works. Okay, it looks like it works because you're in, right, Joe? So you got it to work?
Hello, John. Yes, now it's working. The problem was the pop-ups, as you said. By allowing them, he just opened another page with Hangout.
Okay, very good.
Thank you for the advice.
Thank Daniel. He's the one who told me.
Thank you, Daniel.
All right, so I'm going to try to put that warning I had before. So.
Tell me, please, does bubbling chat work now?
For me, it works.
Yeah?
No. For me, it does. Work. Oh, for you, it doesn't, huh?
No. John, do you use Google Chrome? Yeah?
Yeah.
Now.
Yep. I'm just going to write
Daniel, do you use now Firefox?
I'm sorry, you are talking to me?
No, I am talking to Daniel.
Okay.
Repeat, please.
Do you use Firefox now or Chrome?
Chrome.
Chrome.
Firefox doesn't work verbally in my computer. I don't know why.
So it is not concerned with the browser.
I'm just going to write a quick message to everyone out there. Hopefully they can see it because I really hate to have people blocked. So for me, the class chat is working, but for you, I guess it's not. But I'm going to put a message for people to join.
Daniel, bubbling chat doesn't work only today?
Usually it works.
Okay.
Today, because it's in another window, floating window.
What's in another floating window? I didn't understand.
It's not a window on the browser with it's another window. I'm
What is in
Berlin,
another window?
Berlin. Handout it's working today in another window
Ah, okay.
out of Chrome or Browse.
Okay, okay. Sarah, did you have any trouble getting in to the class?
Today, yeah, I had, but I tried many times.
Okay, did you allow pop-ups in the top? Is that how you got in, by allowing the pop-up
Yeah,
menu?
yeah.
Okay. Did you see my message in the chat window?
Now?
Yeah, I wrote a message that says, if you cannot get in, allow pop-ups at the top right side of your URL bar in your browser.
No, I didn't see it, but I figured it out by myself.
Well, okay, because maybe no one can see maybe no one can see the menu, the chat. All right. Well, anyway, let's get started. What I'm going to do is very quickly, I'm just going to download presentation 2. You have it there in the class material as well, but I'm going to share my screen with you. While that's downloading, what we're going to do is pick up right where we stopped yesterday. Even if you weren't here, it's okay, because these are just conversation classes, so you can come and go as you like. On your screen, you're going to see, in just a second, hold on. There we go. On your screen, you're going to see the end of part 1 of our presentation. Actually, let me go forward and then click backwards. Okay. So, did I send everyone the homework yesterday? I can't remember. The homework, the homework about the vocabulary. If it wasn't yesterday, it was maybe the day before. So I sent homework 1, which was that paragraph where you had to put back in the connectors, right? That was the first homework I sent. Right? Daniel, you did that one already.
Yesterday.
Forget about yesterday. The day before.
Yes, the day before, yes.
And I sent the homework that was about the connectors. But did I send the second homework as well?
No. The second
I didn't.
No.
Okay. So maybe what we can do is, hang on just a second. Maybe what we can do then is start with that homework. I thought I gave it to you already, but if I didn't, it's okay. I'll give it to you right now. It's very, very short, and it would be a good review for everyone. Just give me a second to share my screen, and we can look at it together. I thought I sent it to you, but I guess I didn't. One moment. Give me just a second, and I'll get it open. I thought that I had sent it. One second here. One moment, almost there. It's a little bit slow to go through Google Drive. 1 second. Let's see, I gotta go to where? To materials. I'll share my screen in just a second. Let me just open this first. Materials. Okay, level B2. Okay, I'm almost there. We are doing ethical business. And I gotta open homework 2. Okay, I got it open now. It's just loading. Sorry for the delay. Actually, you know what? I just realized I could have done this a lot faster because I have the link in front of me, but I'm not thinking. All right. So now that I got that started, let me hold on. Let me see if I can share my screen. It's not letting me share my screen. See, that's what I love about Google Chrome. Google Chrome is great because it doesn't work with Google Hangouts. Let's try this more time. I'm going to share my screen. Now, you know what I'm going to do? No, I'm not going to share my screen. I'm going to download this because I can't get the sharing to work. So one more second and we'll get started. Let me just download this. It's a little bit easier. All right. Okay, so while that's downloading, let me get my screen sharing working again. 1 second. All right, so I'm going to open this. You'll see it in just a second. There we go. Okay, can everyone see homework 1 on the screen right now?
Yeah,
Yes.
we can see.
Fantastic. Okay, so we're going to review the key words, all the vocabulary that we learned in the first 2 classes right now. This is the Working with Words section. What you have to do is start by making collocations. Collocations are word patterns. You're going to create the collocations by matching the left and right columns together. Okay, so this is exactly what we did earlier in the unit. If I go back here, when we had this exercise, where you see the box at the bottom of the screen, that's where we were working with collocations, like comply with rules, share responsibility, that kind of thing. All right? So let's review that before we do our speaking activity. Daniel, can you read the first sentence for us?
We work with local communities and take responsibility.
And take responsibility?
Mm-hmm.
Are you sure?
No.
Okay. If you're not sure, pass.
Pass.
Pass to who's next? Who wants it, Joe or Sarah? He says take responsibility. I don't know if that's what is it, Sarah?
No, I'm reading it. Yeah.
A,
First one?
A, regulations. B, money. C, the impact. D, an active part. Strong commitment, true to principles, responsibly. So it's got to be take something, right? So probably it's going to be a noun. We know that. Probably.
Money to our charity.
Take.
B. Money to our charity.
Take money to our charity. We work with local communities and take money to our charity. That sounds like we're stealing money. I don't know if we're stealing money.
Okay.
Pass again. Who wants it?
Believe a strong commitment to caring for the environment.
And we take a strong commitment. We can't take a commitment, Joe. That's the problem. Take does not collocate. In other words, we can't use that pattern. Take commitments. If it was make, you would be correct. But we don't have make as a choice.
I think it should be C.
Take an impact? We cannot take an impact.
Okay.
I believe in this case will be take responsibility. So it will be G. Take responsibility and
I
following
think
by
D is correct answer. D. Take an active part in managing health.
And the cookie goes to Yuki.
Thank you.
The answer is D, to take an active part in. That you would only know that if you were in the class 2 days ago, because that's when we saw that expression, right?
Okay.
So if you weren't in the class, don't worry. You make an educated guess. It's fine. And by the way, when I send you homework, the answers are always on the last page. But it sounds like I forgot to send everyone this homework. I thought I did, but maybe I didn't. Anyway, so we'll do it now. No problem. All right, so Yuki says it's 1D. Number 2. Dom, why don't you read number 2 and see if you can match it?
Okay. We have strongly held beliefs about equality and intend to stay okay, we have strongly held...
So this is an expression. Stay how, Dom? It's an expression in
Yes.
English. Stay.
true to our principle, F.
Right. It's the only possibility because it's an adjective, right? Stay how, or it's an adverb, sorry. Stay how, stay true. In what
Yes.
way should we stay? So it's the only answer that will fit. I
Yes.
agree.
In fact, it's the only one who sounds more familiar than others.
Absolutely. Right. It's a set expression. So 2 is F. Very good. And Joe, why don't you take 3 for us?
Sure. We need to do more to reduce the impact our factories have on air pollution in the local area.
So 3 is C. Right, Joe?
Yes, I guess.
I agree. 3 is C. Sarah, number 4?
Environmental groups share a strong commitment to caring for the environment.
Perfect. So 4 is E. That's right. Okay, and Yuki, we're on to 5.
We work hard to ensure that our subsidiaries all act responsibly and follow our environmental policies.
Very good. So 5 is G. We're on to 6, Daniel.
Government needs to make sure that companies comply with regulation and follow official guidelines.
Very good. So 6 is A. And we're back to Dom, I believe, for number 7. Back to the beginning.
Okay. As a fundraising manager, I encourage companies to donate money to our charity.
There you go. What else can you donate besides money? That's it. So 7 is B. There we go. All right. So I want to go around the room again, and this time I want you just to say the collocation, nothing else. So Daniel, what was the actually I think it was, I forgot who answered the first one, but I'm just going to go around the room. Daniel, what was the collocation in number 1? I think you did number 1, right?
Yes.
To take what?
D.
Yeah, but say it back to me. Say it so I can hear it come out of your mouth.
I said another answer.
Yeah, that's all right. Say it the right way.
And take a strong. No. I can't remember.
Take an active part.
Take an active part.
Right. You wrote the answers in the chat window. 1D.
Yeah. I thought you asking me for my wrong answer.
No. I was just asking you to repeat the right answer because I want the collocation, that pattern. I want that to be clear in your memory because we're going to use it. So number 1 is take.
The number 1 is take an active part in managing health and education project.
Take an active part in. That's it. Take an active part in. Dom, what was the collocation in number 2?
2 is to stay true to our principles.
Number 2 is to stay true to our principles. Joe, what was the collocation in number 3?
To reduce. I'm sorry. To reduce the impact our factories have on air pollution in the local
Good. You
area.
don't need all that. Yeah. You don't need it. Just reduce the impact on something. Reduce the impact on. That's the pattern you're going to be using in the next part. And Sarah, what was the collocation in 4? Share what? Right, to share a strong commitment. That's it. Okay, and Yuki, what about 5? What was the collocation?
Act responsibly.
Act responsibly. And Daniel, 6?
Comply with regulation.
Good. And Dom, 7. Donate
Money to our charity.
Donate money. Okay, in the next and final review exercise, all you have to do is change the form of the word. Change it from a noun to an adjective. I believe they're all adjectives, if I remember correctly. Okay? So, Joe, you're at the top of the list right now. You're going to change the word ethics in the first sentence. You're going to give it a try.
I believe it's ethical investments.
Correct. So read the whole sentence for us.
Okay, ethical investments are having an increasing impact on the financial services sector. These
Perfect.
investments. I'm sorry.
Perfect.
Yeah. Okay,
Perfect.
thank you.
All right. Sarah, you're going to take number
Yeah.
2, responsibly. You have to change it to an adjective, I believe.
Okay. These investments, also known as socially responsible investments, are beginning to have
That's it.
more.
That's
Okay.
good enough. That's it. Perfect. So, socially responsible. So, ethical investments, socially responsible investments. And Yuki, you're on to number 3. So,
Number 3.
yeah, so read it from the beginning, from 2 to 3. Starting from socially responsible.
Socially responsible investment are beginning to have more credibility. No.
Good.
Credibility than they did when they started to 30 or 40 years ago.
That's it. That's it. Very good. Okay, we're on to Daniel for number 4.
Investing in one of these funds is meant to be a good investment choice rather than an act of generosity.
Act of? Say again?
Generous.
Generous?
Generous.
That's what it says. You got to
I-
transform it. It says
Okay.
generous, but you have to transform it to, instead of an adjective, it's got to be a noun, I believe. What's the noun form of generous?
Something is normal. I don't know.
Yeah, but what's the form of the word we
form.
need? The form of the word. So ethics became ethical. That was noun to adjective. Credible became credibility. So credible is the adjective. Credibility is the noun. Generous is an adjective. What's the noun?
General.
Generosity?
Generosity.
Generosity.
Generosity is the noun. That's
Okay.
it. Generosity. Okay, and Yuki's putting these in the chat window if you want to take a look at the group chat.
Okay.
And Dom, we're on to you for number 5. Fund.
Fair and which
Fund.
treat fund managers invest in companies with a good reputation, which treat their workers with fairly or fairy. I don't know.
Uh-oh.
Sorry.
Fairly would be an adverb. So it can't be fairly. We need the noun.
Okay. To fair.
To fair would be the infinitive verb. To
Okay.
fair, to talk, to eat. So not a verb.
Fair, no.
Fair would be the adjective. So we need an ending that gives us the noun.
Fairness?
Joe says fairness. Do you agree?
Fairness? Maybe. I don't know.
It's correct.
Okay.
It's correct.
I learn a new noun now.
Fairness.
I always use fair with fair play or something like that, but I never heard fairness.
In Italian,
No,
fair,
not in. No, fair. I know the meaning of fairness. It's to be honest, to be correct. I think it's something
Right.
like that. Yes.
How do you say fair in Italian?
Onesto.
Onesto. How do you say fairness in Italian?
Onestà.
Onestà. Got it.
Yes. Okay.
But is it onesto or is it giusto?
Or no, it's also it's a synonymous. I think it's giusto. Giusto is or maybe corretto. Correct. It's something like use.
Okay.
Yes.
All right.
Every of this noun is related by fair, I think, in Italian.
Okay, very good. So, Joe, we're back to you after fairness. So, which treats the workers with fairness and?
Okay, and avoid all forms of discriminatory.
Nope.
It's like all forms of discrimination, maybe?
That's right. All forms of discrimination. Actually, do the second one after that, number 7 too. Just read the whole sentence for us, Joe.
Okay, or prejudice. Okay, discrimination or prejudgment.
Here, it's actually a much simpler word. Not prejudgment, but all you have to do is remove the ed. That's all you have to do. So instead of prejudiced,
it will be prejudice.
Prejudice. That's correct. So get rid of the past tense ending, and it is then no longer an adjective. Prejudice.
Prejudice. And what does that mean?
Prejudice means to, exactly like it says, to judge before. Pre is before. To judge before. So if you're prejudiced, maybe you think that women are inferior to men because you prejudge women. If you're prejudiced, so these are beliefs that are not held by rational views. They're just beliefs that people have for emotional reasons or whatever. Prejudice. To be biased. Clear?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Prejudice. I'm pronouncing it right. Prejudice.
Prejudice. Prejudice. That's right. That's right. So Sarah, we're on to you for number 8, starting with in theory.
In theory, this should lead to better industrial relations and greater long-term profitability.
Good.
Fund managers also try to avoid unstable and undemocratic regimes where there is evidence of bribery and
good.
And corruption.
Corruption. That's right. So 3 words here. First is undemocratic. Repeat, Sarah. Undemocratic.
Undemocratic.
But there's a little problem there. Instead of putting the stress on that, listen to how I say it. Undemocratic. Right. So don't put the stress on the cra. Put it on the, maybe on the dem or on the un. It's got to go more in the beginning. And the second word is regimes. Regimes. Right. That's it. By the way, can someone write to Morad and help him get in the class? Because he isn't seeing. I don't think he. Or maybe I can do it quickly. Hold on a second. Let me see if I can copy and paste the message for him. Let me just see if I can copy and paste this for him. Go ahead there, Morad. Hopefully you can see that. Morad, if you cannot get in, allow the pop-up menu at the top right side of your URL bar in your browser. Okay? So click allow. Hopefully you can see what I'm writing. Okay, anyway, hopefully he's got that. And Yuki, the last one, number 10.
Number 10. As well as companies who do things by deception.
By deception. That's right, by deception. Listen to the whole text now from beginning to end. Ethical investments are having an increasing impact on the financial sector. These investments are also known as socially responsible investments, are beginning to have more credibility than they did when they started 30 or 40 years ago. Investing in one of these funds is meant to be a good investment choice rather than an act of generosity. Fund managers invest in companies with a good reputation, which treat their workers with fairness and avoid all forms of discrimination or prejudice. In theory, this should lead to better industrial relations and greater long-term profitability. Fund managers also try to avoid unstable and undemocratic regimes where there is evidence of bribery and corruption, as well as companies who do things by deception. So, this text titled Choose Investments Carefully. Do you think that companies follow this advice in reality today? Or do you think that this is advice that we still need to follow?
I used to work for a company that actually they gave us in the introduction day the ethical business, and I believe this statement was one of the statements I already saw. And yes, they my company they used to follow this kind of ethical process as policy, this ethical policy.
So was this like an agreement you had to you had to sort of agree to work at the company, or it was just a statement of policy?
A statement of policy, and also there were more procedure to follow in case of a person is under if someone asks for a bribery or even for any kind of corruption. So
well,
there was a policy in case of if as employee we got in contact with a person of this kind of want a bribery or corruption, we should take a specific procedure.
You have to be a whistleblower, right? You have a whistleblowing policy.
I don't know what actually whistleblowing means.
Whistleblower means that you have to inform the management of the company if someone offers you a bribe, or you have a way to inform the government if the management is the one doing something illegal. In other words, companies have an anonymous program that allows you to whistleblow. That means, like a policeman.
Okay.
Right? So
yes.
I used to work for Barclays Bank. I was teaching English at Barclays Bank. And Barclays had a whistleblowing and official policy where you would not lose your job. In fact, you might even be rewarded if you blow the whistle on illegal activity. Here's the problem. Barclays Bank got into a lot of trouble for a lot of illegal activity. And in fact, they had to basically leave the country where I was working because this is recently. So
wow.
I know they had to basically got kicked out. So in theory, these programs exist, but I wonder if in reality you really can blow the whistle without getting in trouble. I wonder. So something for us to consider anyway. Well, listen, let's try this. We've done a bit of review, okay? So what I'd like to do is try to use that vocabulary, try to use it ourselves right now. At the end of the first presentation, we have this, whoops, let me go forward. We have this activity after we learned all that vocabulary. It said, read about 2 companies and discuss how ethical you think they are, using some of the nouns and adjectives. So I have conveniently put our key vocabulary on the screen for you to help you describe. By the way, I'm getting lots of noise from somebody. I don't know where it's coming from. Maybe already muted. So let's do this. I'd like you to be able to describe the companies that you're reading about. Let's read them first. Okay, one person read company X, one person read company Y. And let's start by just, as a class, deciding what we think about these companies using the keywords. Okay? So, company X, who's reading?
Okay, I read.
Go for it.
Company X donated 100,000 trees to Nairobi, Kenya, to aid reforestation.
Good.
I
Correct.
think.
Keep going.
Okay. Provide funds for a project, then gives loans to farmers and fishermen. Establish the fund to promote research into conservation of drinking water.
Into conversion, isn't it?
Yes, conversion.
Conversion, right.
Sponsors disabled sports in Germany. Committed to offering equal entrance requirements and development opportunities to male and female employees.
Very good. And company Y. Who's reading for us? Company Y.
I can read it.
Go for it, Sarah.
Okay. Failure to perform routine inspections led to corroded pipeline and
Wait. Corroded.
okay, to crowded pipelines and oil leaks. Oil spill has polluted large area of coastline. Lack of attention to safety led to oil refinery explosion. Injuries to employees. Currently, an investigation into whether company manipulated oil markets. Staff bought large quantities of company's product. Committed to renewable energy, invested heavily in solar and wind power, runs a project to generate electricity from petroleum coke.
Well, we've got two very different kinds of companies. What I'd like you to do is maybe to try to, you can either make a statement about one company or the other, or you could try to compare them. So I'm going to ask for just one sentence each using at least one key word from the box on the far left. For example, whereas company X seems to be a pretty ethical company, company Y seems like it might have been involved in bribing local governments to get around regulations. I have that feeling. I could be wrong, but I have that feeling. Okay, so I'm guessing, but I'm using the key word in the box on the left, and I changed it from bribery to bribing. I could say they're implicated in a bribery scandal, for example. I could say that too. You're welcome to change the form from noun to verb, from noun to adjective, or adjective to noun. Okay? So Yuki, why don't you get started here? Can you compare the companies in some way?
If company X is have using this words, yeah?
Yes, try to use the keywords on the left.
One of them is or
one or more, yeah.
One more. I think company A is corrupted.
Wait, not corrupted. Corrupt.
Corrupt.
Company Y, you mean, is corrupt.
Company Y. So company. So I think company. If company X is quite have a ethical standard.
Good.
Company Y have no responsibility.
Okay, good. Say that again, but I want you to use a connector of contrast. Words that mean the same as but. So in my example, I use the word whereas. Can you think of another contrast connector that we could use besides whereas or but?
Although.
That's it. Good. So say it again with although.
Okay. If company X had a ethical standard.
Got to start with although. Although goes at the beginning. Although.
Although company X has ethical standard, company Y has no responsibility.
Right, or it appears to have no responsibility. Yeah, absolutely, very good. Daniel, what else is a contrast connector besides but, whereas, and although? Can you think of another one?
I think the company X.
First, give me a contrast connector. Give me a synonym for but. So far in the chat window we have but, whereas, although. Can you think of another one?
Though.
Though is another one. Good. So try to use though in your comparison.
Though the company X.
Though company X.
Though company X. Though company X is more generous.
Good.
Than company Y. Because.
No. You said though it's more generous. You cannot say because.
Okay.
Right? You said though it's more generous. Now you have to give the contrast. And you could do that, Daniel. Look at the last point in company Y. You could use that point to make the contrast. Though company X is more generous than company Y, what does company Y do? Look at the last point in company Y. See it?
The last point.
Yeah. What do they have?
Okay. It's a little bit, a little less generosity.
No. Look, okay. You're making a contrast, right?
Yes.
So, you set up your contrast with the statement, company X is generous. It's more generous than company Y. To make a contrast, you have to then talk about company Y's generosity. Because you set that up in the beginning because you said though. Is that clear?
No.
Why not?
I don't understand why. What are you asking me?
When you use though,
yeah.
you're going to make a comparison between X and Y.
Mm-hmm.
The comparison that you talked about was generosity.
Mm-hmm.
So you can't switch to another topic yet because you haven't made the comparison yet. You have to finish your thought about generosity. So if company X is generous, though company X is generous, what about company Y's generosity? Well, the information you need is really in the last point. 1, 2, 3, 4, the fifth point in company Y. That shows their level of generosity. Like that's the things they are actually doing.
Sorry, I am lost.
Someone help him out. Class. What would you
Daniel,
say?
use the connector, which is used to describe.
Well, do it for him, Yuki. Show him what we mean.
For example,
how would you do it?
In spite of, although, whereas, but, however, something like that.
He used though, but I think he started to switch to a new topic because then he said because. But we can't use a connector of reason yet, Daniel. We can later, but we can't do it yet because we have to first finish the comparison. So, is company Y generous?
A little bit.
Exactly. That's the point. Exactly. So, though company X is more generous than company Y...
Otherwise...
No, you don't need otherwise. You already said though. You said it. You already said though.
Though,
exactly.
Company Y, it's a little bit generous.
No, Daniel. You already said though in the beginning. It's perfect. Yeah. It's perfect. You don't need to change it. Listen to me. I'm going to put together your two ideas. What you said is perfectly acceptable. though company X is more generous than company Y, comma, virgula, comma, company Y is a little bit generous because it has a commitment to renewable energy.
Mhm.
So you don't need to add a second connector. You don't need to say otherwise. You already said though. It's enough. It's enough.
Okay.
All right?
Okay.
Is that clear?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. Just repeat it back to me so I know that you got it.
Yes. Though company X it's more generosity,
More
more
generous.
sorry, more
Good.
generous than company Y, comma, company Y is a little bit generous
Because
because
they
they invested heavily in solar and wind power.
exactly. That's it. By the way, don't really say comma. Don't actually say the comma, but yes, that's it.
I know.
That's it. Very good. That's it. So it teaches everyone a really good lesson. You only need one connector, and if you put it at the beginning, it shows the most important idea first. It shows the contrast first. You can also put it in the middle. You could say, company Y is a little bit generous because it invested in wind power, though company X is more generous. You could do it in the other way as well. All right? So, Dom, you're up next. Can you use a different key word from the box to compare the two companies?
Okay, I talked. You work on the box. Compare.
Exactly.
Okay.
Try to use one that we haven't used yet.
Okay. In spite.
Good.
I think. In spite, company X established a fund to promote research into conservation and drinking water. For example, company Y don't isn't following the example.
Okay, good. One little change. When you use in spite, you must follow it with the gerund, the ing form. So you have to say, in spite of company X being, in spite of company X doing, in spite of company X following.
Okay. In spite company X establishing fund to promote research into conservation drinking water.
Good.
Company X isn't following the example.
Perfect. That's it.
Okay.
That's it.
Okay.
Joe, one more. Joe!
Yes, I'm here, John. Sorry.
Okay.
I was just wondering if we are using a group of words besides the word also and despite.
You can if you want, sure, as long as it makes sense. Well, all we're really doing is making a comparison. So there's a lot of other words you could use, sure.
Okay.
What do you want to say?
But actually, I have no idea which word to use, so I asked you if there is a group of words I can use.
Yeah, look in the chat window, in the group chat inside of the Hangout. Do you see it? Look at the bottom in the group chat. Do you see it?
Yeah, I see in spite of that ing.
Right, and then
okay.
Exactly. And you can choose any contrast connector. For example, someone earlier said otherwise. That would be another one. However is another one. On the other hand. So these are all contrast connectors that let you show the difference between company X and Y.
Okay.
All right? But don't forget, we're practicing the vocabulary, the key vocabulary in the box on the far left. So use your adjective and noun from that box and use the contrast connector from the group chat, or give it a try.
Okay, I can say company X, it's doing her commitment through the society by donating a lot of trees. However, company
Good.
Y is using bribery to do his job or to perform his job.
Okay, good. There's one little problem.
Yes.
There's no he or his because company cannot be male or female.
Yeah.
So you have to say it's.
Yeah. Okay.
So one more time.
Yeah. Company X, it doing her commitments through toward the.
Is doing her commitment?
I'm sorry.
It's doing its commitment.
Its commitment.
Good.
Towards the community.
Good.
On the other hand,
right.
Company Y, it's using bribery to complete her dirty job.
It's not her. It's right because you keep saying you're saying it in Italian. You're saying lei, right?
Exactly.
But don't say it in Italian. Say it in English. It's.
It's okay.
Because it sounds, you know, lei can be her, but it can also be you, or it can be, you know, it's the formal way of addressing. But in English, it's going to sound like you're talking about a girl. You're not talking about a girl.
Yeah, you're right.
Right? So, in short, Company X is making, whatever you want to say, it's doing its social commitment by investing in the environment and things like that. However, Company Y is using bribery to get around its responsibility, to evade responsibility, right? It's not doing its commitment. It's not making its commitment to the environment. It's. Sarah, one last one, and then I've got a question for the group. One last one.
Okay. Despite.
Go for it.
Okay. Despite Company Y committed to renewable energy, but its lack of attention to safety led to oil refinery explosion and its employee. But Company X is being more responsible than the Company Y is offering equal entrance requirements and development opportunity to male and female employees.
Okay, that's a lot of information. So, say it again, but you don't need so much detail. Because here's the thing, I want to correct your grammar. Despite, remember, in spite and despite are always followed by ing. So it's going to be despite plus ing, like despite doing, despite being, despite having. Okay?
Despite Company Y lack of attention.
Having a lack of
attention to their employees, but it committed to renewable
energy. Wait. Okay. You can't say despite and but. They mean the same thing.
Same thing, okay. Despite Company Y having lack of attention to their employees, it committed to renewable energy.
Period. Perfect. Done.
Okay.
That's it. You don't even need to talk about the other company. That's enough. Despite it having a lack of attention to these issues, it is making a commitment to employees or whatever you want to say. But that's the form that you need. I have a question for the group. It asks us to prepare a short speech at a press conference. I do want you to try this, but what I want you to do is I want you to try this kind of as a homework because it's going to take too long. But what I do want to do is I want you to talk about the company that you want to present. It says your company would like to be seen as an ethical business, and you are presenting details of some of the initiatives you have undertaken. You can talk about your own company or use one of the companies below. Oh, these are companies that you could choose from. If you don't have a company that you personally want to talk about, I've given you Vodafone, Carrefour, and Peugeot. So you can read about those. But rather than, we don't really have time to do the full presentation. So what I'd like you to do is I'd like you just to talk about what you would say in the remaining time in class. And you could do the presentation in a follow-up class. You could write it, send it to me to correct, and then present it in class if you would like. So tell me, what companies would you talk about? For example, would anyone talk about their own company to prepare a press conference? Does anyone have a company of their own that they would talk about? Daniel, do you have a company?
Mm, mm, no.
You don't?
Maybe I want to pick one of the sample.
Okay. Dom, do you have a company?
Sorry. No, I haven't company. I'm not company.
Sarah, do you have a company?
I don't have work for a company.
No one has a company. Oh my God. Okay. What companies would you choose to talk about, class?
Maybe bubbling.
No.
No. It would be a problem.
It depends on what you say. Remember, we're being recorded.
BP.
BP. Now that's a good company to talk about. That's a very good company to talk about. A lot to say there. What would you say about BP? So go back to your key
Lies.
vocabulary. Yeah, what would you say?
I would like to say a lot of lies.
You can say the truth if you want. But let's talk about it. Don't worry about the press conference yet. Let's talk about reality. Tell me some things that you would say, and you can go back to the key vocabulary on slide 16 if you like. Tell me a little bit about BP, Daniel.
Okay, we're a big company with.
You don't have to worry about the presentation. Really talk about what you want to say. What the truth is as opposed to what you would say in the press conference. What's the truth?
What's the truth? Okay.
Yeah.
The company tried to be responsible about their management of extraction of oil from the deep sea.
Right.
But honestly, we can say it's a very hard work. We try to don't.
We try to not.
We
now,
try.
You can't use don't here. We try to not do what?
We try to not affect the natural environment.
Right.
But with our current technology, it's impossible not to do anything at the environment.
Do we agree with him?
I don't agree with you.
I don't think it's a question of trying. I think that they. What do you think, Yuki? I think they didn't try. I think that was the problem. What do you think?
I think the damage by the oil rig disaster caused by the company BP is big. So I think this company has a little greedy. So
right.
and there is a lack of ethical consciousness. So maybe someone said that there was a bribery involving in this company. So
bribery.
Bribery.
Right. I agree. Daniel, I have a feeling that greed played a big part in the accident, because I have a feeling that that there was deception. There's a key word. That they were deceptive about their management practices, and in fact, they weren't updating their oversight. So this accident was a safety accident that could have been avoided. What do you think, Daniel?
I think all can be done.
Can be not dumped or don't. Sorry.
Can be.
Can be.
Can't. No, can.
Can
be.
Or can? Can be what?
Can be. Can be done properly.
Oh, the business can be
with
done
safety.
What can means?
Can is able.
Can?
Can.
Can be able to.
Okay.
Everything is be able to do in the good way, properly, with safety, but you have to spend enough money for doing that. Well,
And BP doesn't have money?
eh?
And BP doesn't have enough money to do it right? What do you,
Yes.
what do you, what do you mean? BP doesn't have enough money? Are you kidding? BP
I
has a
think
lot
it's
of money.
Now
poor
BP
people.
has no money. Its company have to spend as much as maybe hundreds of billion dollars covering all its costs.
I think it's true that they
Or
did
avoid-
get they
or
finally got some. They finally were punished a little bit, but they'll make that money back in 1 quarter. I mean, whatever the punishment is, it's not $1 trillion.
Yeah.
These are businesses worth $1 trillion, not $1 billion. I mean, until the oil runs out. When it runs out, we're all done. But
I think it's
Fine, or the punishment should be a percent from the I don't know what to say. The money they earn.
uh-huh. The salary.
Not the salary, the profit, the profits. A
Profit.
percent of the
Profit.
profits.
Should go to the police?
Eh?
I don't think I understand. Why would we want to give the profits of BP to the police?
I
to have
found-
better safety, you mean?
I mean when the company make a disaster,
Right.
So, I
the
think
punish
Should get the profits.
should be the profit.
Okay. I get it.
uh,
A 50% of their profits,
Oh, that's too much.
for example.
I think I don't know. Maybe it's my opinion, but I think it's in that field there are a very percentage, a very high risk in, and sometimes there are many operations that even the company is not warned about the real risk about this operation, and sometimes things happen, and like BP, and the company don't have the tools to manage that kind of risk.
Operation. Oh, risk.
Let's see. Yes.
But
To manage.
but then the question is, why should a private company be allowed to drill for oil if there's so much risk? Why should private people be allowed to do it? It should
Because
be,
I think obviously it's the main reason is profit, and
Yeah.
sometimes profits take over ethics.
Sure, but shouldn't, in that case, shouldn't it be that a more democratic organization should be doing this, because then we can decide whether or not it's too risky. For example, the tar sands oil in Canada, that Obama is really pushing this oil extraction. He's the first president since Nixon. He's the very first president since Nixon to actually meet this 1970s idea that we're going to be independent from the Middle East. He's the first. All the other ones have talked about it. He's actually doing it. But the cost is that he's going to ruin the environment for good, because the oil is this sand, like sand at the beach. And it's very dangerous to transport. And on top of that, we all know that oil is ruining the environment, so why do it? So there's no democratic control over the decisions.
Yes,
so,
I agree about that. In fact, there are a debate in my own country about discover sites in the sea.
Exploration for oil,
yes,
right?
Yes, for exploration oil. And it's very, I know that it's very dangerous, and it's I think it's a problem, because that thing, as you said, has two aspects. Yes, one good because it's following the independence about energy, and one bad because there are very high risk and cost for environment.
And when they do oil exploration, it isn't one company that takes the risk. It's usually 4, 5, 6 companies banding together to go out and do the preliminary tests and drilling, so that they all have an agreement amongst each other. But that helps them, so they know the risks they're getting into. But the rest of us, what choice do we have? If you live in Mexico and you go to the beach, you're going to be eating fish that are contaminated. You know what I'm saying? I mean, the local people, they don't get a choice. That's the problem, I think. Well, listen, let's do this. Daniel's got to go, and so do I, actually. We've got to stop. I'm going to be back in 2 hours for another class, for the conditional mysteries class.
Okay.
And I'm going to send you this homework where you can talk about a company of your own or one in the files, and you're going to try to use the key expressions to do a short presentation. So you can write it and I'll correct it, or you can do it spontaneously in the next class, okay? And we're going to be starting the next section, which is key phrases for, I have to look, I don't remember.
Okay.
Key phrases for one of the business skills. I can't remember. I'll tell you later. I'll send it. Okay. Bye for now. See you on Monday for the next business class. See you later today for conditional mysteries. Bye-bye.
Thank you.